There is a depressing lack of great Christmas anime. I know, cultural differences and all that jazz, but as someone who usually loves the holiday season, I wish I had more to choose from than that one episode of Polar Bear's Cafe and Itsudate My Santa, May That Shit Burn in Hell. A lot of slice of life shows have a Christmas-centric episode in them, but I want more than that. I want something I can come back to every year to get me geared up for the holidays like I do with all my favorite Western Christmas specials. Oh wait, I already have that. Yes, today under the scope I take a look at Tokyo Godfathers, the Christmas classic from the late great Satoshi Kon. The story follows an eclectic trio of homeless people, a runaway girl, a trans woman, and an alcoholic. While rummaging through the trash on Christmas Eve, they find an abandoned baby freezing in the cold. With determination and some reluctance, the three set out to return the infant safely to its mother, confronting their own abandoned past along the way. Tokyo Godfathers' story hinges upon a never-ending series of coincidences, and while that would usually be a bad thing, here it's sort of the point. The plot bounces from one incredible coincidence to the next. For example, at one point the trio gets separated and Hana and Miyuki, needing a place to stay, return to the old woman's former stomping grounds, only to find Gin there too. Or later, when the three are rushed to a hospital, the nurse just so happens to be the old man's long-lost daughter. Rather than drag the plot down, however, these coincidences serve to further the film's message and blend nicely with the Christmas theme. It's a demonstration of the power of circumstance and the small world we live in with some divine intervention sprinkled in. It's a story about the unbreakable bond between family, with each main character having run away from their guilt for their failures. From the father who couldn't suppress his gambling and drinking addictions to support his family, to the girl whose isolation from her father eventually caused her to lash out. Then of course there's the main story of them trying to return the baby. The frankly strange series of coincidences that ultimately lead them to the mother furthers this idea of the powerful pull of family. Finally, it covers the issue of homelessness with a high level of respect. It's a topic rarely covered in anime, or any other medium for that matter, and Tokyo Godfathers couldn't have handled it any better, exploring the harsh life and societal discrimination the homeless face on a daily basis. They deserve to be afforded the same dignity and respect you'd give any other person, though they usually aren't. The film handles its dark themes with a captivating sense of grace and lightheartedness though. There's rarely a dull moment, and the back and forth between the main trio is often hilarious. Tokyo Godfathers is a far cry from Satoshi Kon's other denser works like Perfect Blue or Paprika. This isn't a psychological thriller or complex mindfuck. The story is surprisingly simple, and it's that simplicity which makes it great, striking a perfect balance between the classic Christmas tale and Kon's always remarkable touch. When it comes down to it, Tokyo Godfathers is really a character story, and thankfully, this is the area it shines the most. It gradually reveals the character's backstory, setting up an emotional climax for each one. It makes you care about each one immediately, largely due to their eccentric personalities and banter. It's quite the odd bunch, so that alone sets itself up for easy comedy, but I was impressed with the level of variety in its humor. Within the first few scenes, the film establishes the trio as an odd type of family. Each of them clearly cares deeply for the others, and you can sense that strong bond between them. Considering their pasts, it's fitting that they've become a second family for each other. The film does a terrific job developing each, mixing flashbacks perfectly with scenes from the present, allowing the audience to learn more about them while they grow. Their inner conflicts are perfectly fleshed out along the way, and even the story behind the baby Kyoko's abandonment gets some intriguing development. The film expertly hints at how it's not as cut and dry as it initially appears. A large part of the character's journey is ultimately coming to terms with their past and accepting responsibility for their actions. It's a shining example of the incredible depth Satoshi Kon could achieve with a character in just 90 minutes. He didn't waste a minute or shuffle anyone into the background. Tokyo Godfathers' cast makes the story and drives home its core themes. The eccentric personalities of its main group makes for a bizarre, hilarious, and ultimately emotional trio I never tired of, providing a relatable, heartwarming message about the irreplaceable bond between family. There's really not much to say in the way of animation, as the film came out in 2003. It stood the test of time well enough, and while I don't have anything to rave about, there are no glaring issues either. The backgrounds have a remarkable amount of attention to detail to them, which really helps immerse you in the world. Of particular note are the cast's hilariously over-the-top facial expressions. Their exaggerated reactions really help lighten the film's tone and give it that comedic edge. They were also incredibly genuine, however, lending the film its more emotional undertones when appropriate, particularly during flashbacks and at the end. There's never that awkward transition between serious and comedic, thanks in large part to the terrific animation of the characters themselves. The soundtrack is a huge help here too, with its wide array of styles, changing seamlessly to fit the mood. The emotional tracks really drive home those powerful scenes, but there's plenty of wackiness to it as well, fitting for such a zany film. While there's nothing I'd want to listen to on its own, the soundtrack is a nice complement that never feels out of place. For a work that's over a decade old, Tokyo Godfathers has relatively high-quality animation that stood the test of time fairly well, and a soundtrack that's the perfect blend of serious, crazy, and of course, Christmas. As a Satoshi Kon film, Tokyo Godfathers is a refreshing break from the norm with its simplistic structure and clear message. As a Christmas story, it's an unconventional twist, encompassing everything a great holiday tale should, with its wholly enjoyable and incredibly moving narrative. The film never takes itself too seriously, as the lighthearted tone persists throughout. It doesn't let that get in the way of it telling an emotionally charged, moving story, however. It delves into areas you don't usually see anime cover, and for that, it's remarkably unique. As I mentioned, the selection of Christmas anime is extremely limited, and as much as I love watching Christmas specials, Tokyo Godfathers is the perfect fix. Its focus on runaways and homelessness, the readily accessible story, and Christmas setting make it a unique film that's a worthy addition to the holiday pantheon. So with that, I award Tokyo Godfathers an approval rating of watch, with a definite recommendation to do so, as well as an overall score of 4.2 crying babies out of 5. With a timeless story I never tire of, Tokyo Godfathers is a personal favorite of mine I always come back to. The animation doesn't look too dated, the sound is a great fit, the characters are all wonderfully relatable, and it's fittingly heartwarming, all in all making it a Christmas anime classic you don't want to miss. If you're looking for something similar to Tokyo Godfathers, I point you towards all of Satoshi Kon's other works. Just be aware that many of them are far more thought-intensive than this one. As much as I'd love to recommend another great Christmas anime, I don't really know of one, so also check out Tekkon Kinkreet for another heartwarming character story with a nice message. And that's all for me. If you're feeling particularly generous and want to help me make better content, please consider checking out my Patreon page. Any help goes a long way. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to follow me on Twitter at UTS Reviews. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas, or whatever it is you celebrate at this time of year, and as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.